Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining today's General Thoracic Surgery Database User Group call for, what is today, Wednesday, September the 23rd. On the call today from the STS, we have myself, Leanne Jones, we have Carol Crone, Jane Hahn. Let's see, who else do we have here from the STS? That's all we have from STS. Our IQVIA colleagues are on the line as well. We have Jeanette, Jean, Joe, and Melanie joining us today. All right. Before we get started, as you can see, we do have the annual data manager poll on the agenda for today. However, since the harvest is coming to a close on Friday, we wanted to ask, now I'm going to take a quick poll here in just a second. We wanted to ask if you all would prefer to tackle the data manager poll today, the survey today, or on our next call, the monthly, our General Thoracic monthly webinar on 10/14. The data manager survey would take about 20 minutes, and we just want to be sure that we allow enough time for the STS and IQVIA updates, and most importantly, we allow enough time for your questions given the harvest closing in a couple of days. Let me see. I'm going to go ahead and launch this poll real quick, and again, if you could just let us know, would you like to do the annual data manager survey today or on the next call? And again, just know it'll take about 30 minutes for that data manager survey. I'm going to let that run for just a few. Let's see here. We've still got responses coming in. It's looking like mostly everyone is preferring to wait until our monthly call. We've got about 66% of people that have voted. And it's looking like overwhelmingly everyone would prefer. Let's see, I'm gonna end this and then I'll share results. So it looks like everyone, we've got about 77% would rather do the data manager call on the data manager survey on our next call. So I'm sorry.
That was me. Sorry, Leanne. I was taking a screenshot.
No, that's okay. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't missing something. So with that, I'm going to stop share results, and then we will move on with our STS and IQVIA updates, and we will present the data manager survey on our monthly webinar coming up. I believe it's October the 14th. So be sure to plan accordingly. Yes, ma'am.
I was just going to say, this is Carol, maybe if we get through these presentations with IQVIA and we don't have very many Q&A, maybe we could do even just a couple questions from polling if we want, if we had time. So we use every,
Absolutely.
Okay, great.
Yeah, sure. All right, for our STS updates, the spring 2020 harvest data is undergoing analysis, and results will be provided as soon as possible. As stated previously, we understand these reporting delays are not ideal, but please know that we really do appreciate your patience, and we anticipate not having these significant delays in the future. Again, we appreciate your patience, and we are working to get these reports completed and available for you as quickly as possible. Also, there will be educational webinars and resource materials made available for our participants once the dashboard is updated. The fall 2020 harvest deadline, as you all know, is Friday, this coming up Friday, September the 25th, at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time. The harvest extension email notification stated that the close time would be 5 p.m. Eastern, but please note that that email notification, we should have stated 11:59 p.m. Eastern, so we do apologize for any confusion that may have caused. So just to reiterate, the harvest submission deadline is Friday, September the 25th. We will be accepting data files through 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time. And also the opt-out date is Tuesday, September 29th. The link to the opt-out form is located on the STS website. You can find the link on the harvest information and schedule page. I believe it's right up at the top of that page, and it's also located within the IQVIA library. Our next, let's see, for additional review for the 521, after additional review for the data version upgrade, the 5.21 update, the STS and the task force has decided to delay the go live of the 5.21 5.2 data version until July 1, 2021. We just want to ensure that the upgrade is one of the best ones yet. There's still some review that needs to be done for the diagnoses and procedure sections, and we're just looking at those very thoroughly, as well as doing final review of the data collection form before we finalize the data version. Just so you know, there is a draft version of the 5.21 DCF available within the AQO website. If you are a registered attendee, you are able to log into the AQO website and review the document today or at any time prior to the AQO database upgrade presentation on Wednesday. So again, you should have received a link for AQO. So as most of you are aware, the AQO meeting, the data managers meeting begins next week. The session is scheduled for Wednesday, September the 30th. And again, as of this morning, the AQO meeting link is now live and available for access to our attendees. We do encourage you to log in, get familiar with the website, and please let us know if you have any questions. Just as an FYI, this year's AQO is our highest attended AQO ever. I think we have just over 700 plus attendees have registered. So if you have not registered, we do encourage you to do so ASAP. STS has also planned several social events throughout the week for all of our attendees. So regardless of how many sessions you have registered for, you are able to attend all of our social events. So for example, I know the general thoracic session is on Wednesday. So if you only registered for the general thoracic session, again, you can attend all of the social events. On Tuesday morning, Donna McDonald will be hosting a meet and greet for all of the AQO attendees. So again, even if you registered just for the general thoracic session, you can attend the meet and greet coffee session on Tuesday morning. On Wednesday morning, we'll have a yoga session. You can attend that, the yoga session. Wednesday morning, we have the yoga session. On Thursday afternoon, we will have trivia with Carol. And there will be monetary prizes for trivia with Carol. I'm actually looking forward to the trivia. That's going to be very fun. I love trivia. So, and then also on Friday, we will be having a meditation session on Friday morning. So again, just please know that you are able to attend all of the social events, even if you only registered for one day. And we are very excited about our very first virtual AQO, and we look forward to next week. And as we talked about, we are going to skip over the data manager survey. So let me advance in our slides real quick, and then we will hop over to our IQVIA update from Joe.
All right, great. Thank you, Leanne. So let's start off. We have a release coming on October 10th. And there are a few items that I'm going to go over that will be included in that release. So starting with STS 3656, or you may also have received ticket 3624. These tickets have to do with the clinical staging method esophageal for EBUS and mediastinoscopy. So those items are appearing on the missing variable report, even though they do not apply to the version 2.41 version of the data specifications. And so that item should be removed from the report for those records in next month's release. And then STS 3686, missing variable report is it's showing missing data for the patient participating in an STS-related clinical trial variable, even though it's answered in the user's vendor system. And so this has to do with the demographics version of the form, and so we're updating the report logic to take that into consideration. And then just a couple of enhancements are coming as well for your harvest summary report. We are adding a display for the selected surgery dates and a display as well for the total number of records for quick reference. And so those enhancements will be included in the October 10th release as well. All right, and then the next slide, we have a few issues that we wanted to bring to your attention that are under review. Starting with a couple items related to the missing variable report, STS 3924. The patient alive 90 days post-procedure variable is being flagged as missing when it has not yet been 90 days since the surgery date. So we are looking into the report logic for that and making sure that that triggers appropriately. And then STS 3884, the clinical staging method lung for PET or PET-CT variable may be referencing the wrong parent field, and as such isn't appearing on the report as missing when it should not be. So that is something that we are investigating. Then one item related to the dashboard report, STS 3845. We are looking at a report where the 30-day mortality variable on the dashboard is not categorizing records correctly in the alive or dead category. So we are looking into that report to make sure that that item is working correctly. But other than that, those are the items we wanted to bring to your attention today. If you have submitted tickets for bugs that are not listed here, please rest assured that we are looking into those items. And our support team will follow up with you regarding resolution and target release date confirmation when that information becomes available. All right, and I believe that does it for my portion today. So I'm going to turn things over to Melanie for the harvest checklist review.
And thank you, Joe.
Okay, great.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks, Leanne. So let's go ahead and talk about the checklist. We did review this on our previous call, but we've updated and also posted a version of this copy to the platform library section. So if you log into the platform and navigate to the library menu option, you will see that this checklist will also be available there. So just a quick review in regards to the steps to your harvest close. So going through the flow, the first step is, of course, to upload your files, and that's what you all have been doing actively. And at that time, you will receive a data quality report for that individual submission or multiple submissions, depending on how many files you're uploading. So you will receive validation feedback related to if you're encountering any critical errors, general errors, or warning messages. So you would be able to review that in the data quality report. Also available for you to review, which would provide general information in regards to the total number of records that were submitted in that submission, is going to be located on the critical summary report. So that is, of course, going to give you details in regards to the first surgery date that was included in that submission, and also the last surgery date. So you can use that to do your confirmation of files that were accepted, and also the date range that you had submitted for. Moving along to the next step in the data cleanup process, you would be accessing the missing variable report to review items that have been identified as missing. And then also you have another available report, which is the harvest summary, which will give you a holistic view of the records that are currently in the database. So this report will allow you to enter in a surgical time frame and is not dependent on the submission time frame. So big difference in regards to data quality and the harvest summary. It's going to give you that feedback that you want to verify if there's any outstanding errors or warnings that need to be addressed. You could do that using by reviewing this report. The next step is your pre-analysis step, being able to review everything at a big level or the big picture. You could use the non-analyzed dashboard report. And then, of course, the information that is available and submitted for that harvest will be then sent to DCRI once that close happens, and then DCRI will conduct the actual analysis. Once they finish the analysis, they will send that back to IQVIA, and then we will, of course, present that back into the into another dashboard report. So going to the next slide, just wanted to, so this is just the flow, but the next slides will give you the checklist steps that I just described in the flow. So again, just walking you through if you just need to know, okay, which order am I going in? You could go ahead and follow this, and more than likely you all have been following this, but this is going to allow you to review again data coming in at the point of entry, getting that immediate feedback, That's going to be your data quality report. Being able to see your total numbers in one single area and what surgical dates are included. That's going to be your critical summary report. And let's go to the next slide. Then, of course, if you want to not look at just the submission level information and you just want to enter in a surgical date range, Harvest Summary is going to give you that information where you can address errors and warnings. Then moving from there to review items that are identified as missing, you of course would navigate to your missing variable report. And then the very last slide is just describing looking at the big picture, which is going to be your dashboard report. So again, these steps are available on the platform, again, in the library section, so that you're able to review and download if you would like. And I believe that is the last slide that I have, Leanne. So back to you.
Yes. Thank you, Melanie. Again, our final slides, everyone has seen all this information before, but again, IQVIA support plan. Again, we just want to reiterate that when you do contact IQVIA support as well as STS, to please include your participant ID number in all communications. This helps IQVIA determine to which site you are asking the question about, especially if you have more than one participant ID, as well as when you contact STS, it just helps us identify you a lot quicker and get your responses to you just that much faster. So again, please be sure to include your participant ID number in all communications with IQVIA and STS. And for the general thoracic database, your participant ID number is a 5-digit number that starts in the 40,000 series. Again, it's should start with 4, and it's a 5-digit number. Next, we have, again, our list of resources that are available to you. All of this information is out on the STS website. Also, my contact information. If you have any questions or concerns, again, please do not hesitate to reach out to me directly. You have my direct line as well as my direct email. Again, for all questions or concerns, please reach out to me. If you're not sure who to contact, you to direct your specific question to, again, please reach out to me and I can get you in touch with the appropriate STS staff or IQVIA staff. If you have database operational questions, we do encourage you to email us at stsdb@sts.org. You would email database operational questions in regards to participation agreements, anything regarding participant contacts for your site. What else? You have questions regarding direct data entry. If you're interested in the direct data entry that is available, again, please reach out to us at stsdb@sts.org. All right, our next general thoracic webinars we have scheduled. We have our next monthly webinar is scheduled for October the 14th at 1:30 Central, and our next user group call is scheduled for October the 28th at 2:30 Central. Again, if we have time today, we'll cover our data manager survey if we have enough time allotted after questions. If not, we will tackle that data manager survey on our monthly webinar for October the 14th. And next, we're going to turn things over to open discussion so you guys can ask your questions. You have questions regarding data quality reports, questions about getting data in for submission. Please, again, feel free to put your questions in the Q&A, and the STS and IQVIA staff are here to answer your questions. And I see we have one question in so far. This looks like for our IQVIA team from Heidi. It says, I have an error on my DQR. Category of disease secondary is required. Is this a genuine error that I need to address or not? I processed 1/1/2018 through 6/30/2020. I did not have this error on last submission. Please advise. The error is representing 21% of my pie.
This is Jeanette. So the guidelines in I believe it's in the data specification, would indicate that no secondary procedure is a selection that would need to be made on that field. So there is an option within the Harvest code set for that choice, and we would advise you to pass that value in order to satisfy this data quality check. So that may be an item, if that's not an option available within your vendor system, that may be something to work with your vendor on. But we can assist in that question set if you aren't sure where to see that within the data spec.
Great. Heidi says, thank you, Jeanette. Thank you. Our next question, is there a way from either STS or IQVIA to pull a complete extract of all of the data points for a quarter?
Is this a direct data entry question or a submission question? I guess would be one of the items we'd be interested to understand.
Yeah. Callie, if you could clarify, that would be great.
The training manual does say that the secondary category is not required, or the secondary diagnosis, I think, but the data specification does. Unfortunately, that is an inconsistency between those two artifacts. So we'll be following up with STS on that.
Yes. Sorry. Yes, Jeanette. We'll look into that. Okay. Okay, I'm waiting for Callie to see if she follows up. Our next question, under follow-up, we answer mortality status at last follow-up. When we click alive, the next question states mortality date, and then it shows up as missing data when I save the form.
And is Tracy a direct data entry? I'm assuming
Yeah.
that she is.
Yeah.
But is that within the IQVIA platform, Tracy, or are you saying this within your vendor system?
Yeah, if you could clarify, it's on the STS form. So are you direct data entry, Tracy? While we're waiting, yes, Tracy
yes.
is direct data entry. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, I think we need to take a look at that further to see what the behavior, you're describing a behavior for us, so we just need to review that.
Yeah. And then Melanie, Katie also had a comment there. Our next question from Claudette, what is the process for removing records for a patient that was incorrectly added to the database? What is the process for deleting a record when the surgery did not take place?
This is Jeanette. I can take that one. So if you have surgery that was entered in your vendor system and then was exported and submitted to the STS database, and then later removed from the vendor system, then what we would advise you do in order to remove that same surgery from the STS database would be to, after it's deleted in the vendor system, hopefully you know the surgical date of the surgery that was deleted, run an export from the vendor system of the procedure dates before and after that surgery date, the one that was removed, and then do that submission to the STS database for that surgical date range. With that new file, which would not have the deleted surgery in it, the STS database will automatically detect that that surgery has been removed from the latest submission, and it will remove them from the platform. Hopefully that answers your question.
Thank you, Jeanette. And again, I wanted to get back to Tracy's question. After rereading and processing the question, and Katie's comment, if the patient didn't die, then it's appropriate for that element to be left blank. And that is correct. In the current version, there is no parent field for mortality date. So that will show up as missing data, and it's appropriate for that element to be left blank. It won't impact your analysis. Obviously, there is no parent for mortality date, so it's reporting missing data for all records. And obviously a majority of those will be missing because majority of the patients, are still alive. Does that make sense? I hope that clarifies. And And let's see, Callie says they're not direct data entry. We can use our vendor to pull all of the information, but wondered if it's an option once it is sent to STS.
Not at this time. This is Jeanette. So that is a capability that you would have within your vendor system, but that is not available as part of the STS database right now.
Okay. And yes, Heidi, we will loop back with you regarding that via email. Do you have any other questions? I did see one question. Mindy had stated that she did not get an email notification. I'm not sure if it was the harvest notification. So the harvest notifications were sent from our STSDB at sts.org mailbox. So if you did not receive your notification, please ensure that you have our STSDB at sts.org email whitelisted or check your spam. Again, just be sure that you have all of our email addresses whitelisted. If you find that you're still not receiving some of our emails, we do have the option to add a secondary email address for you. So if you would like to add a secondary email, you could use a personal email to ensure that you're receiving all communications, and that way you don't have to worry about your help system, IT department blocking things, and just another way to ensure that you're getting all communications from STS. You can send us an email. You can complete a STS participant contact form, or you can email us. You can email me directly at lee.jones@duke.edu, or that would be best, or you could, I don't want to clog up STSDB mailbox, Jane, but the quickest and easiest, most efficient way is to please just update your contact information with via the participant contact form and add a secondary email address. And then Addie could get that updated rather quickly. All right. Any particular reason, okay, here's our question. Any particular reason why we are informed of the extension the afternoon of the submission deadline? As helpful as the extension is, it would alleviate some stress if we have at least a day's notice. And I hear you and I understand. We do apologize for that late notice, but we had to have internal discussions and discuss with our surgeon leaders and get agreement and work with IQVIA as well to ensure that a harvest extension was able to be made. I don't know if any of my other STS colleagues have any other information about or want to add anything, but we do apologize for that delay in getting that harvest extension announcement out to you.
Yeah, this is Carol. Hi, Leanne. Carol.
Mm-hmm.
I echo what you said about that, and I think we also had a couple natural disasters happening around that same time, and kind of everything, the way everything came to a head was really late to notify sites, but we thought it was the right thing to do to offer an extension. So I agree, it was not ideal. We could have done it sooner, but I'm glad that we were able to do it, and unfortunate that it wasn't done sooner.
Mary said Mary also didn't receive an email regarding the extension. This is the first time I've heard of it. Yeah, we sent the email last week, and then the website was updated also. And we had, and I'm trying to remember back to when our last webinar was, to be honest. We've had so many webinars lately. And we would have shared that information on the webinar accordingly, but I do know we did send the email notification out last week.
Leanne, this is Jane. Can I jump in really quickly here?
Sure, absolutely.
Hi, thank you. So the email that we sent out regarding the harvest deadline extension, the team here on the call personally sent it out, and so we pulled all of the contact information from our records for all backup data file contacts and primaries. If you have uploader access to the platform, that means you should have received that email. So we will be sending another reminder this evening. If you don't receive it by tomorrow morning, please feel free to email us at STSDB. I think that a lot of the hospitals' spam blockers or firewalls or what have you, the security systems are a little sensitive, and so they may be blocking it from your own institutions. And as Leanne suggested, you may consider adding a personal email address as your secondary, because we send it to both. So we apologize that you're not getting those emails. We assure you that you're on our list. And I can imagine how frustrating it's me to not have access to the updates real time. So we're happy to work with you on that. Please expect to receive an email by 6 o'clock Central today. And if you don't get it, you can either email Leanne directly or STSDB or any of us. We're happy to help you with that.
Yes, absolutely. Mary has a question. She has some errors indicating that a primary procedure was not chosen. These errors are all correct in my registry and my DAT file. Emailed 2 weeks ago, I've not heard anything back. I checked with my vendor and they confirmed that my submission was correct. These records were not rejected. I'm assuming that my harvest is fine. So I don't, Mary, if you submitted do you have a ticket number, like a RITM number that the IQVIA team could reference and pull up in their system? That would be helpful, and they could research that and definitely follow up and get more information for you. So that would be helpful if you have a reference or a ticket number. And then Mary, another Mary stated she did not receive any notice about extension to the harvest, but she did receive the notice about delay of the version upgrade. And I believe those were, I don't know if those were sent from 2 different mailboxes, but again, if you're not receiving our emails, please feel free to, please add a secondary email. Please let us know we can get that information, because we want to ensure that you do get all communications from STS, and we're happy to work with you in any way possible. So, I'm just waiting to see if any other questions come in. And Mary, if you could provide a ticket number if you have one. Does anyone else have any additional questions or anything they would like to share? Or I know we've got about 30 minutes left on this call. Carol, do you have any thoughts? Should we try to do some of the polling questions while we're waiting? I'm not seeing any additional questions come in. And Heidi saying received the version delay, but not the extension. Okay, thank you, Heidi. Go ahead, Carol.
Sorry, Leanne, this is Carol. We can do some of the polling questions and,
Okay.
see how far we get, and we can stop. If we have any more questions come in, we can stop and answer those questions,
Sure.
with 5 minutes left or something like that.
Okay.
Do you want to go back to the polling slides and we can kind of,
Yep.
okay. I'm going to so this is our annual data manager survey that we send out yearly using Monkey Survey. We figured since we have the polling feature and we usually get better attendance on these webinars versus the Monkey Survey, that this would be a good platform. So the first question is, which database do you abstract for? And it's a multiple choice: general thoracic, adult, congenital, intermax, or PD max. Go ahead and let people vote, and then we will make these available within the coming weeks. This information is usually helpful to other sites or people who are looking, because we'll ask more about what types of cases and things like that. I'm going to end the poll and share the results. Most people, of course, on this call are abstracting for general with general thoracic with a nice overlay into adult cardiac, and then a few intermax and congenital also. So we like to share these results out with sites who are asking, usually regarding FTEs. So our next slide, the next poll is regarding your background. And it's asking, there's a couple questions here, I think. So you'll have to answer all the questions for it to be accepted in. The first question is, what is your background? Are you a RN, an APN, perfusionist, quality improvement, non-medical, information technology, non-medical, other clinical, a cardiac thoracic physician, surgeon, other physician, health information management, or other. And how long have you been abstracting for? We have a nice group, it looks like here, with people ranging all the way from less than 12 months to 10 or more years. We do have a mentorship program, which I'll talk about in just a few more minutes. But if you have more than 2 years of experience, or you feel that you are, you would be somebody who could be a good educator for another site or another person, I would urge you to offer your services and volunteer as a mentor to help out your colleagues. It doesn't require that much time, and it might be, 1 or 2 emails back and forth to help out, just helping somebody else feel comfortable. And then the next question is, who do you work for? And I'll share these results. Most folks on this call are nurses, IT, non-medical, and then some other clinical, other physician, health information management, or other. Most people have about 5 to 9 years experience, but it really ranges for this group all the way from less than 12 months to 10 or more years. And most folks are working at the hospital level. Some are also doing data abstraction company work. So the next slide, it will be on the role for data abstraction at your facility. Are you the first question is a multiple choice. The first 3 options are primary, backup, or physician representative. And you either do abstract or you do not abstract, or other. Do you utilize a third-party abstraction company? So not are you working for a third party, but do you utilize a third-party abstraction company? And then how many cases do you yourself abstract per month, all the way from less than 5 to greater than 200 cases per month, or you do not abstract? Oh, I guess I need to launch the poll.
Yeah, okay. Yeah,
I'm just right
I
through
didn't
it.
want to interrupt you.
Remind
Oh,
nobody
okay, number 2.
answering. I'm like, oh, geez.
I didn't want to interrupt
I
you.
did something wrong. Sorry about that, everybody. Okay, so the first question is your role. Are you primary, backup, or a physician representative, and do you or do you not abstract?
Mhm.
And then the second question is, do you utilize a third-party abstraction company? The third question is, how many cases per month do you abstract? This is for you yourself. And then the fourth question is this is a multiple choice. So the first part of this question is, you abstract without any help and it takes you how long? Or you abstract as part of a team and it takes you how long? Next question, number 5, is your timing of abstraction. Real time within 1 week of OR date, and do not include your 30-day follow-up in these questions. So real time within 1 week of OR, 1 to 4 weeks, or greater than 4 weeks. When we had all of this excitement with coronavirus and folks getting furloughed, we saw quite a few issues at sites related to harvest close dates, or people trying to clean up their data because they're just getting back from furlough and they were not cleaned up before they got put on furlough, even with that short notice. So if you're able to, if you are abstracting 1 to 4 weeks or greater than 4 weeks, it would be great if you could look at your process and any way to improve that time frame. So if anything like this happens in the past, you're not coming back to a mess worth of cases that need to be abstracted in. And this is where the mentorship program works out really well too. If you are not abstracting in real time or near to OR date, mentors who have that process down, they would be able to help you kind of fine tune that. So you can get a little bit closer to within that 1 week of OR date. And that helps too when you have to reach out to your surgeons for questions on operative things or post-operative issues. If that patient's been discharged and you're now asking the surgeon questions and it's been a month, more than likely they're going to have a hard time remembering that case. But I'll share these results with you. Most folks are primary and they do abstract. Most people do not utilize a third-party abstraction company. There's a range of cases, but it looks like somewhere between 5 to 30 cases with an average of 10 to 20 cases per person. That's what you're abstracting a month. So up to 1 case a day, it seems, is being done. And then Average time spent, most people seem on this call, which is interesting because I know on adult it was pretty close that we had a team versus one person flying solo, and it takes about 1 to 2 hours. I'm seeing that similar with the other registries as well. And timing of abstraction, most folks are within that 1 to 4 weeks of OR date. So we're gonna, and again, these results will be available later on, and we'll share them with you within the upcoming weeks. The next slide, the next poll will be on kind of counts. So we have how many cases per year does your hospital perform, all the way from 0 to 50 to greater than 1,000. This is per year, and these would be esophageal and thoracic cases if you're, or any case that you're entering into the database. How many cases is that? Are most of your cases esophagus or thoracic, or are you doing just about equal numbers? How many people abstract? Are you flying solo, or do you work with a group of people who are also abstracting? And let that run for just a few seconds. And I don't see any other questions coming in, so I think we can keep going, Leanne, if you're comfortable with that.
Yep.
As we're doing this.
Sure,
Okay,
absolutely.
great.
Yeah. It's nice to do this on these calls where we have the participation and then we don't have to worry about, because I know we used to send this via email, and it's just nice to be able to do it on the call with everyone here and get real time results, responses quickly.
And it's neat to be able to share that. I like that we can do that. I should have been taking screenshots of the answers though, because now we have to go back and put them in a Excel spreadsheet.
Oh, the spreadsheet, yep.
Yeah, I'm going to end this poll and share the results out. But it looks like we have quite a number of people on here doing a large amount of cases per year, 200 to 500. Most are thoracic. A few are just about tied. Those people that are tied and are doing the esophagus cases, I know we have, you'd probably be very helpful to mentor other people who are also in that group, because there aren't a lot of sites who are doing major esophagus cases, so you would be really helpful to your peers for that. And then how many people are abstracting at your hospital, and most people are doing it solo. Others are working with small teams of 2 to 4. Okay, so we'll go down to the next slide and next set of questions. Your previous experience, there's just one question on this poll. What is your previous experience? Are you clinical, non-cardiothoracic surgery, like cardiology, non-cardiology, other medicine, or medical administration? Clinical cardiac surgery, CVOR, the CTV, ICU, or perfusion? Non-clinical but within healthcare, or non-clinical and you were not in healthcare before you got into this role? It kind of goes back to your background, but I think it's interesting to hear where people were working first. And we make assumptions, but I don't know that they're always right. Okay, so I think we have a good response. So I'll share these results out. And most folks did have a clinical non-cardiothoracic surgery background at 51%, and then a nice group also had some specific clinical cardiac surgery background. I'll stop sharing these results, and then our next slide is related to your work responsibilities. I'll launch this poll. There's just one question for this one. What are your work responsibilities? Are you only abstracting for the general thoracic surgery database? Are you abstracting for multiple STS databases, STS and other cardiology or thoracic, STS and other surgical, STS and other clinical responsibilities, STS and other non-clinical responsibilities, or you do not abstract? And it's interesting when we overlay these with the other results to see really what's going on at sites and how you're being pulled in multiple directions or have multiple responsibilities. Not just our database, so we have to, it's important for STS to know that, so we don't assume that this is your only job, and we have to be respectful of all the other stresses that folks have going on. So I'm going to end this result, and I'll share these, or end this poll and share these results. And most are doing STS and other cardiology or thoracic databases, which I would assume are STS and probably the NCDR or another thoracic database. and then STS database only, and STS and other non-clinical responsibilities. I would assume probably QI at your hospital. The next question is your education. This is related to not your personal education, but education from STS and the things that we offer. So I'll launch this poll. There's a couple questions, quite a few questions here. The first one is, do you participate in the STS mentorship program? This is where you would, if you are a mentor, you may be working with a person who is minimal or might be new to the scene, and kind of just helping them out, get used to all of the different resources and kind of showing them the ropes. Or if you're a mentee, working with a mentor and asking, questions that you might seem are trivial, but actually it could really make an impact on how you do your job or processes that you put in place at your facility to make your job easier, flow a little bit better. Have you participated in the STS advances in quality and outcomes? I'm sorry, so the mentor program is you're aware but not participating, you're a mentor, you're a mentee, or you're not aware of the program. The next question is, have you participated in AQO, which is the Advances in Quality and Outcomes of Data Managers meeting? Yes, annually, frequently, a few times, once, or you have not attended in the past, or you have no idea what AQO is and you're hearing this word or acronym for the first time. Will you be attending AQO? Yes, you've already signed up. Yes, I've already signed up. This is my first time. You've attended in the past. You will be signing up and attended in the past, or you've, oh, I have the same question. That fourth one should say, yes, will be signing up. This is my first time. If you want to answer, sorry for that. I don't know how I did that again. No, you can't make it this year, or what is AQO? And then do you find the twice monthly webinars helpful? Yep, the amount is perfect. Yes, you would prefer more frequent, or yes, you would prefer less frequent. You do not find them helpful, or this is my first webinar. I just found out about them. Number 5 is, do you feel that you have the knowledge to do your job correctly? Yes, you're good. Yes, you're still learning, or nope, you definitely feel that you need some more training, which is totally okay. That's what we need to know so we can help you get to the spot where you can be a yes. Number 6, are you familiar with and I think the whole thing comes up on the screen, right, Leanne? It says, are you familiar with the IQVIA resource library? And the choices, are you frequented on the IQVIA platform? You've only checked it out once or twice, or you don't know anything about the resource library? And
Yes, it all goes off.
Okay, great. I think everybody's voted. Number 7 is, do you review the notifications tab on the IQVIA platform? And number 8 is, oh, got 9 questions here. 8 is, how have you utilized the IQVIA resource documents on the STS website? And number 9 is, if you are not finding webinars helpful, what can be improved upon? And the chat box is open to provide us with that information. So I'm just gonna let it run for a couple more seconds. I think we're good here though. And I'll share out the results so we can scroll through them pretty quickly. Most are aware but not participating in the mentorship program. If you are available to offer yourself as a mentor, we need mentors to help out the mentees. The most have participated in AQO at least once or more, and it seems that some percentage, a third, have not attended AQO in the past. We do have some folks coming in who this will be their first time at AQO, which is exciting, and I think it'll be a great opportunity. If you haven't registered for AQO yet, please check it out. The agenda's on the website. We have some really great speakers, and it's kind of like a supplement to the to these webinars. It will be going over a version 5.21, and we will be doing more in-depth review of that as we get closer to go live as well on these upcoming webinars. But AQO was a great place to hear from the surgeons about the changes that are coming your way. The twice monthly webinars, people are finding the time is perfect. A few would like it less. These are recorded, so if you don't want to jump on with us and you want to check it out later, you certainly can do that. Knowledge to do your job. Most people are pretty confident that they that they know what they're comfortable with what they're doing. Anybody who is not, we can definitely reach out to Leanne, and we can get you more information and make sure you know about the new Data Manager webinar series. Those folks who are not familiar with the resources from IQVIA, we probably need to do some more education on that, and we will be sure to do that and kind of show you where those documents are located or links are located on the IQVIA platform and on the STS website. We do have some written guides on the STS website under the education section, and we can run through that if we have time after this poll. And pull out the checks. Okay. So just see one person put something in the chat box. It says, would like to see more education on scenarios or rating on certain data elements. It's kind of the goal of these webinars. The goals of the webinars be to provide education on clinical scenarios and certain FAQs that are coming in that we're seeing a common theme where people are having a hard time. That's really the goal of these webinars. So once we get through this IQVIA, feel a little bit more stable in the IQVIA transition, and we provide out information regarding the reports to you, and we're going to kind of shift our focus over into this education idea, so we can have surgeons on or have our core group, some of our core group members providing that type of opportunity to you, because that's really the whole point of this, is to be doing it as an education so we can help you get your data and feeling more confident about the data that you're submitting into us, not what you're putting into IQVIA, but for making sure that you're not having questions abstracting certain things. So that's kind of the idea, and we'll get there eventually, hopefully within the next couple months. And then the next polling thing is 2020. What a year. It's been a crazy year for all of us. And you all have been very patient. Thankfully, as we're going through this, it's been difficult. So a couple questions here for you. What would be the most helpful area to educate on for STS and IQVIA transition? This is a multiple choice question. The first answer is you're good. You can get your data in and cleaned up before harvest closes. You're a little confused with the changes, but you think you'll get it. And then, of course, the multiple reports that we have available: uploader data quality, critical summary, missing variable, harvest, direct data entry, and non-analyzed dashboard. Please rate STS's communication regarding the transition. So this is our communication coming directly from the STS offices in Chicago, if you will, or virtually, coming from STS about our transition, and have we improved our communication via these webinars, via different emailings that have been coming out to you, updates on the website? How do you feel that is going? Rate us from very poor to excellent. What are areas that STS and IQVIA can improve upon? And this is, again, a multiple choice question. And you can put your answers. If there's something more that we need to, that's not on this list that you think we can improve upon, put it in the chat box, because we can keep a list of that and review it together as our team, with our teams. What is the biggest improvement you felt happened in 2020 regarding the STS GTSD? Is there anything you felt that was helpful, or that you can see that this is going to be an improvement in the future, and we're just kind of getting through those steps? What has been the most challenging for you this year with the general thoracic database? We want to know that too. And if you have a suggestion about what's been challenging, and you have something that you think would be helpful that we need to implement at STS, what is that? And share it with us so we can work on doing that for you. How often are you using the general thoracic training manual? You're reviewing it prior to submitting any questions. You review it monthly and it answers your questions. You review it monthly, but you still have questions and you're not quite sure what the training manual is. And then version 5.21 is due out July 1st. Will it be most helpful for you in the months leading up to go live? What will be most helpful for you leading to the months prior to go live? Put your answers in the chat box. So this is what kinds of resources can we provide to you? We are planning to do monthly webinars, probably starting in January, where we walk through the data collection form. We touch on all the variables and talk about the changes and things like that. Is there anything else that would be helpful? Some things that Adult Cardiac had asked for were, seeing a change document between the current version to the new version. That was helpful. And they also enjoyed those webinars and having a chance to ask questions about the changes. So let's see here. I only see a couple comments in the chat box, so I'm not sure if people are not able to find it, and I don't see any.
Yes, I saw Mary. I'm sorry, Carol. Mary did have a comment regarding the training manuals, stating that it needed to be redesigned, and I completely agree. We are looking to improve the training manual. The FAQ should be in an addendum, and I understand, I think that's, how the adult cardiac training manual is designed. And yes, Mary did send her comments over to me. If anyone else has any additional comments for training manual improvements, please feel free to email those over to me. We haven't started developing the training manual for the next version yet, obviously, as we're still finalizing it, but we are looking to hope to make major improvements in the training manual and to get that redesigned and make it a document that is useful for our data managers.
Great, thanks, Leanne. Yeah, Mary, that's definitely something Leanne brought up, and we will be working on it. Or she will be working on it. One of us. We'll be doing it. Don't worry. We're on it.
Yeah. Thank you, Mary. Yeah, we're working on it, I promise.
Yeah, so a couple comments. I think everybody I don't know if everybody can see these comments or if they're just coming across to the panelists. That's Molly, my cat. She's saying hi to everybody. Okay, the webinars have been the best thing. I look forward to them, and they have been a great resource, and I'm glad. I hope that we can continue to make these evolve to get more clinical and more database focused related to abstractions. We can help kind of alleviate some of the FAQs that are coming in and provide some additional clarification to those. Support at IQVIA is a little frustrating and has been as the challenge, the problem stating it's an STS issue. As the challenge, the problem stating it's an STS issue. So yeah, if you're having issues with support, we would please reach out to Leanne and myself if you're able to get your ticket number and send that to us, because we can kind of help check into that for you and hopefully provide some a little bit additional to support to that. Some issues that come in to IQVIA that are not really, they might be things that would be a nice to have, but maybe not a functionality issue, but those are still things that we would like to know about, even if we can't do anything immediately about them. We'd still kind of like to have them on the list so we know what we need to focus on in the coming months. IQVIA has been a pain point, and she avoids using any of their resources. Still getting errors that are not resolved since the spring, and it takes a while for them to look into tickets. So again, please reach out to Leanne and myself, and we're happy to kind of assist with that process, and maybe provide you some feedback and work with between you and IQVIA as a mediator to these issues. I'm sorry that it's been frustrating for you, but please reach out to us and we can do our best to assist with that. And then it's not STS's fault per se, other than you never should have tried to migrate adult and thoracic so close together. And I hear what you're saying. That was a big push for all of the databases, but we had a tight timeline with some of the closes. So I hear what you're saying. It's been a stressful year for this transition for sure. Most helpful reviewing new version elements with, okay, so this is the question about, I'm going to reshare these results so folks can see these as I'm reading through some of these answers. And we're almost done here. I use the training manual almost every day and I find it easy to use, but that's because the database itself is so confusing and field definitions seem to change between versions. Most helpful reviewing new version elements with intent of question most challenging, the 5-year mortality checks for lung cancer patients. And actually, a little spoiler alert, Leanne, if you wanted to share about the 5-year mortality checks.
Yeah, they are going away. The follow-up section in the new data collection form is not there anymore. So
Yeah, and we'll go through that. I think that's exciting for folks because that is definitely a drain on resources at the sites. And then I think the monthly webinars have been very helpful. Hopefully the depth of information regarding the issues reported to IQVIA are not very detailed. Oh, however, the depth of information regarding the issues are not very detailed or informative. So maybe we can provide a little bit more information for those to be helpful. It would be helpful to walk through some of the data management scenarios during the webinars. That would be helpful. Yeah, I agree. And we'll do something similar as what we've been doing in adult to help with that. I'm gonna stop sharing these. Oh, I read Mindy's comment in the question, and I'm like, oh, we're in trouble again.
I know. Oh.
Okay, so those are all the results.
That was a great funny, Mindy.
So those are all the results. Those are all the polls. So we can stop there, I guess, and we didn't go too far over time. But Mindy said, the nice abbreviation for follow-ups are going away. Yeah. So I was like, oh my gosh.
Oh, that was great. Sorry, that was a nice laugh, Mindy. Thank you. That was much needed. That's fantastic.
All right. So I guess
no apologies needed, Mindy. So that's all that we have. Thank you, Carol. I know we're a couple of minutes over. Thank you, everyone, so very much for participating today with this data manager survey. These, like Carol stated, these results are so helpful to other hospitals, especially when they're looking at FTEs, and it also helps us at STS and IQVIA improve on things that need to be improved upon. And so we do appreciate your time and your feedback more than you know. With that, I guess we'll go ahead and call this a day. Again, if you have any questions or any concerns, please email me directly. You can reach me at ljones@sts.org, or feel free to call me directly as well. Again, here's my contact information, and also our next monthly webinars are scheduled for October the 14th at 1:30 Central, and our next user group call is scheduled for October the 28th at 2:30 Central Time. Thank you, everyone. Thanks to our STS team and our IQVIA colleagues. We appreciate your time today. Thanks, everyone. I hope you all have a great week.